Allow every sensation, every thought, every tremor, to be what it is. Without knowing it. Without standing apart. Without allow the breath to reveal the silence. In which it appears. Without doing anything. Without knowing anything. Without any definition. Without any form. Echoes in the vastness. You do nothing. Nothing is needed. Or lacking. I am this silence. This vastness. This formlessness. That cannot be described. that cannot be denied. That cannot be known as an object. You go to your objectlessness via the recognition that it is so. The recognition that I is beyond mind, is formless beingness. Nothing is apart from this formless beingness. It pervades everything. Without being anything. This formless awareness, the isness, beingness, that knows itself as I. Nothing is a part of I, nothing stands apart. Everything I know as I. Before the name, before the form, before the label, everything I know as the intimacy of I. Everything is within I. This I is not a form, has no name, no age. the deep stillness, vastness, formlessness, complete intimacy. I rest as I, without ever leaving myself, without any becoming. I am. Turn your attention to the body. Scan any place within your body that is holding on. And invite it to relax. Your belly, legs, your feet, your hands, your lungs, your face, your shoulders, your back. There's a lot of space, infinite space. Invite every sensation to rest in the space and expand in the space without any personal interest. Just a lovely invitation. So if you have any questions, anything that you would like to discuss or explore.
I noticed that this time of year, when weather start, they make a prediction of snow or ice or something. When fear comes up, then identification pops right in. I'm a person who has to deal with it.
Mhm. In a way, it really doesn't matter where the body is, what's happening. Sometimes we're at the beach, we're complaining that it's too windy or maybe it's too hot. Sometimes we're in California, we're wishing it was raining, it's too dry. Sometimes we're in a rainy place, we're wishing it was drier. There isn't the perfection that we seek. It's not in the world, in the body, in the mind. If you are hoping to find the peaceful place, you will not find it because you will be bringing to that peaceful place your unpeaceful mind. But a place that may not be peaceful, when your mind is peaceful, then the place is peaceful because your mind is peaceful. When you are hoping to find happiness in your relationship, you will not find it because you haven't found the happiness within yourself. And so you bring in the relationship your own unhappiness. So when we notice that our mind is complaining about the world, we are finding the troublemaker. We are noticing the troublemaker. Wants to stir things up, you see. Because there is no problem with the snow, with the cold. Because we can, as best we can, seek shelter and turn on the heat and or the fireplace or put on warmer clothes, you see. It's very simple at the body level, but at the mind level, it's very different, because at the mind level, we don't like it. So you cannot put a coat or give a sweater to the mind. You see, you can give a sweater to the body, you see, or warmer temperature for the body, but for the mind that doesn't like, you cannot change the temperature. You see. Right?
You don't sell mind sweaters?
Mind sweaters. Thermostat, the mind thermostat. But the mind is not the master, you see. The mind is within our hands to restore order, you see. So when we recognize the troublemaker and we give that troublemaker full power, then we are subject to that troublemaker. Like in the classroom, if you have your teacher and you have one kid who's troublemaker and they run the class, then you have chaos in the whole class, you see. You have to tell them to go out in the hallway, you see. You see, the mind thoughts are not apart from you. They are so completely intimate with you, which makes your work so easy, because you don't have to go anywhere to find the mind. It's right there, right there. The thought arises right there. Oh my goodness, what's going to happen to me this winter? What's going to happen to me tomorrow? It's going to snow, it's going to be cold. So that thought is right there. So you can immediately address that thought. Say, nothing is happening. Nothing is happening to me or will happen to me. But you have to be clear that that's true. You cannot try to tell a lie to the mind, to that thought, and it will see through it. It will play with you. You're playing with yourself. You have to be clear that it doesn't matter what's happening in the world. It doesn't matter what's happening to the body. Because what's happening to the body is not happening to you. Is that a tough one? It's true that whatever is happening to the body is happening to the body. We cannot deny that, right? The body is cold. We cannot deny that.
But it draws me in to start identifying with it.
So we look, am I cold? We look at that. Yes, the body is cold, there is tremor and so on. And we're experiencing a weather, a bodily weather, right? But the I that is experiencing this bodily weather, that is witnessing it, that is perceiving it, what is that? You have to look, you see, because the inquiry requires your investigation. It's not a freebie. You have to look, you have to inquire, you have to reflect, you have to contemplate. The body is cold. Am I cold? What is this I? What is called? What is the I? What is this I that is called? What is happening to I? What is the I? What is happening to I? First, what is the I? Right? It's a good question. So I ask myself, what is I? I am asking, what is I? In a way, it's ridiculous, right? For I to be asking, what is I? Because I am I. Well, we cannot.
Not identified with Maria.
Well, when I'm identified with the body, then I have chosen to be the body. Then when I say, what am I? Then my answer is, I am the body. Because I have chosen to identify with the body, right? So if I decide that, yes, I am the body, then I will experience everything that the body is experiencing as happening to I, as it's happening to I, right? But what we are pointing to is the possibility of ending this impression of living out of the stillness, and that stillness does not move with the movements of the world, body, mind. That you remain as the unmoved I, the non-objective, the formless self. You see, this is what we are talking about. We're not here to just repeat what we already know, that, yeah, I am the body. I am the body is an option. But it's not a happy option, of course, because of the mortality of the body. You experience the body, we do not deny that. Meaning that you, when I say you experience, meaning the body appears to you.
It's when the negative things happen is when I get hooked. You mean that?
When the negative things happen, that means
That's
you've already identified
right,
before,
yeah.
because if you have not identified, then whatever is
Then they wouldn't
appearing
be
is
negative
neutral.
things. Yeah.
Everything that appears would be neutral.
Yeah.
A toothache would be neutral. It's an intense neutral. It's like, not all painting is pastel pink. Some paintings is purple, dark purple. Some paintings are black. Some paintings are very thin pastel, pistachio color, etc. Right? But they're still neutral. When you go to the museum and you see all these different paintings, they're all neutral. They're all very different, but they're neutral. So when you say there is something negative that happens, that means you've already identified. You've already identified with the body, and you are separating. You are in good and bad. So you will experience good and bad, and you will be happy when good things are happening and unhappy when bad things are happening. But that's not peace, you see. That's not the peace. So we're not speaking about a theoretical state where we can do some kind of trick to feel the peace. To realize that what is like in this very moment, I am, yes? This I that is, that you know I am, does it have a gender? When you say I right now, the I am, is there a gender? It's just I, yes? Just the I. You're saying yes, but that's, you don't say yes on my behalf. Yes, huh?
It's neutral.
Yes, it's just, it has no gender. has no form. The I, when I say I, and I look at I right now, I don't look at the tree, I don't look at the couch, I don't look at anything, right? But yet, I know I am. Yes? I know I am. But I don't know I am because I went and I found I am somewhere. I said, oh yeah, I went to the kitchen and I came back, yes, I am. Because I found something in the kitchen. No. I am is a direct recognition of being. So the knowing of I am and the being of I am are one. The knowing I am and the being I am are one. So I know I am as being I am. But that does not add a form. There is no going to the body and asking the body, okay, hey, tell me, and then the body says, yes, here it is, I pinch you, okay, you are, here's the pinch. So you come back and you say, yeah, I am. I asked the body and it pinched or whatever, and I am because I've checked with the body. It's not like that. That's your direct experience, right? That you directly know I am without ever going anywhere.
And there's no conditions on it.
There are no conditions. There isn't like, yeah, I am if
the weather's good.
I am when the weather is good. I am when the weather is good. I am more when the weather is good, and I'm less when the weather is not good.
It's a little absurd.
It's very absurd. It's very absurd. So we realize the absurdity, you see, within ourselves, you see. You have to realize the absurdity, because otherwise the absurdity would run you, would seem to be true. So you keep coming back to the truth in your experience, what's real in your experience, not what's real in your thinking, what seems to be real in your thinking. Because your thinking is so conditioned. It starts with, I am John, I am Maggie, I am Hart. It starts with that. It doesn't examine that. It starts with that as an absolute premise. And since it starts with that premise, everything that's subsequent has that premise within it. It has that premise within it. And as soon as there is the premise that I am this body-mind, then there are all sorts of conditions, because the body-mind is completely subject to conditions. Hunger, thirst, gravity, love, resting, blah, blah, you name it. Right? Social gatherings and belonging. Do all this at the body-mind level. I mean, look at the little child. Could be less than a year old. If the mommy or daddy leaves for 5 minutes, they are like, mama, papa, mama, papa. They cannot be still there crying. As soon as they see mommy or daddy, they're like, back to the piece. You see the condition. That's not even 1 year old. So it starts at the body-mind level, you see. But the inquiry is always in the reality. Because if we do not inquire into the reality, we remain with the illusion. We remain with the download. We all have the download. We all know the download. I am this person, what's going to happen to me? What's going to happen to my relationship? What happened to my wealth, my health, my bank account, my, I don't know, This all is the conditioned. And we can live a whole life like that, you see. Concerned about me, and of course not concerned about others, watching. And then we are 8 years old, you see, the body is 8 years old. And we say, Jesus, what was that all about? it's like a rerun. You know that movie Groundhog Day? It's like it's like Groundhog Day for 70, 80 years. It's in a way like that. There isn't the freshness of being, you see, freshness of being.
I like that. The Groundhog Day is good because you can picture it, and it's so absurd.
Yes,
you know,
it's absurd. It's very absurd. Very absurd. Okay. Hello, KFD. Anne, hello, Anne. Hi, Magdi. Could you say anything about experiencing as there is no one to experience? It's a question that Anne is asking on YouTube channel about experiencing as there is no one to experience. Yes. So if you look at your experience right now, you see, because best is to answer this question not from thinking about it, but from our direct experience. So what is it to experience right now? When you look at your experience right now, Anne, what do you find? What is the first thing you find? You find the silence, the stillness, because anything that will appear has to appear within the stillness, within the silence. Like the words on a page, they appear on a blank page, yes? So first there is the blank page. And then something appears. Now, this blank page, this stillness, this silence, this is what I am. The I is this stillness. You cannot give it a name. You cannot say it is someone, because it doesn't belong to anyone. It just is. It recognizes itself as I am. So the no one is this recognition of I am. It is not the thought of there is someone or there is someone or there is no one. It is the silence, the stillness of being, the I am that is not a form, that the transparent awareness. So that transparent awareness, that presence, you will always find it when you look. When you ask yourself, am I? You will come to, yes, I am. When you ask yourself, am I aware? You say, yes, I am aware. I am aware, and I am aware that I am aware. When you ask yourself, what is it that is aware? You come to I. And if you look a little further, you will come to I. Awareness is aware that I am aware. Awareness is aware that I am aware. So I, awareness is, but it has no form, no shape, so you cannot give it a name. You cannot call it Anne or Magdi or anything. So we don't call it any name, but for language purposes, awareness, presence, stillness, transparency, etc. Yes? So that is first your experience. But when you are just looking from the mind perspective, meaning you're only looking at objects. When you're looking at objects, you cannot see consciousness. You cannot see presence because it's not an object. You only see a tree, you only see a person, you only see a couch, you only see a room, you only see a thought, you only see a bodily sensation, you see a feeling. And when you are just looking at objects, because you are overlooking the reality of consciousness, you are overlooking the amness of beingness. You're overlooking that. You perceive objects, and behind the object, there is a subject. You're experiencing an object and the subject, simultaneously object and subject. This is by overlooking the transparency of being. What it gets superimposed upon the transparency of being is the I am a subject, a personal subject. And then we give the subject a name. We say, what are we going to call it? Say, well, let's call it this baby that's born, we're going to call it John. So now you are John, well, in your case, you're Anne. So what is superimposed on your experience, which is really not an experience, it's the beingness of presence, the beingness of awareness. What gets superimposed upon that is Anne, the body-mind identity. And then there is a world out there. So Anne is perceiving the tree. I am perceiving the tree. I, this body-mind, is perceiving the tree. This is the default mode when we have not reached when our contemplation of the self have not reached the correct understanding. And that will be our experience. So then the question would be, well, what is the experience? What would it be experiencing when there is no one experiencing? But that question cannot satisfy you if I answer it to you from the mind level. When I say, well, an experience that has no one experiencing it is a non-experience, it really means nothing to you. What is more relevant is for you to contemplate within yourself. What am I truly? What is the reality of my experience right now? And to come to the living, established, uninterrupted knowingness of yourself as the self knowing itself, as the transparency of being knowingly itself. I would also say that whenever you are looking for someone, when you look at the experiencer and you say, who is the experiencer? Usually, when we look at the experiencer, we say, I am the experiencer. But we refer to that as me, Megdi. When you look closer, you will find that there isn't actually a Megdi. There isn't actually an An. There is an image or a thought that there is an An, that An is looking. There is an image, a thought. And you know, thoughts come and go. What happens to perception when the thought I, An, is perceiving is not there? It's possible that that thought is not there. It's not there 24/7, right? I mean, we would be totally schizophrenic if we have this one thought going on all the time in our mind. We would need some very serious medication. So what is it that perceives when Anne is not there? When that thought Anne is not there? Nothing. There's no such thing as something perceiving. It's just presence, beingness, awareness. But that will not satisfy you. Even to understand what I just said will not give you the bliss of the self. It's a little understanding. The bliss of the self refers to knowing that I am, and that this I that is is universal consciousness. And to bring this knowingness into your life and to live as that until it establishes itself as that. Whenever you notice yourself thinking of yourself as somebody, as An, notice that that is a thought that is arising to you, that you're choosing to identify yourself with that image. And then let it go. Return to your true self. That does not require your help. Kristen, you're right. Namaste, Magdi. Namaste, Kristen. Namaste. You say, please speak about the eternal formless one, I, and the pure absolute I am. Kristen, the formless I and the absolute I am are one and the same. The formless and the I am is formless, and the I am is one, and they are one and the same. You also say the pure absolute I am that I'm referring to is also formless. Yes, correct. The absolute I am is formless. They are one and the same. You also say at the end of your opening discourse, you seem to make a distinction between I and I am. I may have heard wrong. No, there is no distinction between I and I am. The I is amness, meaning beingness, and the I is also knowingness. So I knows I am and knows it knows, which is a Sat Chit. The Sat is the I am, and the Chit is knowingness, is I know, and Ananda is the bliss of the self. So Sat Chit Ananda is I, beingness, Chit, knowingness, Ananda, bliss of the self. Emmanuel, you're right. Why are you talking about cold weather when it's sunny and warm? don't rub it. Don't rub it. Don't rub it to our nose. Don't rub it in, Emmanuel. Okay, cuidado. Okay, don't rub it in. He's in Costa Rica, so he is at the beach. Okay, okay. We don't get a sunburn, Emmanuel. We don't get a sunburn. Hello, Maru. Yes, Maru, you were saying something?
The sound is not too good, so we'll see if we can talk, okay?
Okay, I can hear you now, yes?
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes? I don't hear you.
Okay, I didn't say anything. Maybe that's why you did not hear me.
I'd write the question, okay?
Okay, Maru.
She's speaking with you now?
No.
I have I'm going to give an example of myself. It has to do with this, even the investigation, who am I truly and all that. Because, like, let's say I'm sitting here while we're quiet and just, usually just being without grabbing on anything to go with, any story to go with it. And inevitably, thoughts come up. Sometimes thoughts say, well, I shouldn't have those thoughts, or
The thought arises saying, I should not have those thoughts.
you shouldn't have me that other thought. And,
Yes.
You know, and this and that. And then there's also a thought that says, yeah, remember, not necessarily remember, but I am conscious. You know, I am. Okay. It's sort of like a tension between that, between what I know, what the recognition of that, say in the past, but the recognition of that, or knowing that recognition, and having that, and knowing that bliss or peacefulness, and a lot of times it will come up with, you know, still at the body level of going to your YouTube or going somewhere out, you know, to help, seemingly to help that to happen.
Mm-hmm.
But the point that I'm making is that peace, okay, or that neutralness or whatever. I think when the thought comes, like this afternoon, even here, I was going. I recognize that, so I knew that that's an I. That's the I. And
You mean the personal self?
well, I think that that's what happens. Is there's a the personal self.
Okay.
You know, the thoughts.
Yes.
It's in the flow. It's in the flow.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's in the river, it's in the stream, whatever people want to call it. And so, you know, it's appearing,
Yes.
put it that way.
Mm-hmm.
And yet, there's, well, I want to remain as the knowing that it's appearing.
Mm-hmm.
So you know, all of this is on thought level 2, in a sense, is the idea that, okay, well then that's happening also. And so I wanted to, there's an expectation. I think I've talked with you about this before. It just continues to happen.
Uh-huh.
There's an expectation, really, that there ought to be a change then. I should find bliss, I should find peace.
Mm-hmm.
And so what typically happens is that I just allow it to happen, okay, and not really grab onto any of those thoughts, but there's tension there. I guess really what I'm saying is I don't want the tension.
Right. Well, if a thought is arising, whatever it is, whatever the content of the thought is, and you're letting it just be,
Yeah.
and there is a tension,
Yeah.
then you're not letting it fully be. You follow?
Well, the bigger tension, but just to be clear, the bigger tension is I want to abide in myself. I want to abide.
Which is a
in
thought.
I.
Which is a thought.
Yeah, which is a thought.
So there is a thought, I want to abide. So there are two thoughts. There is a thought that, you know, I'm not doing good, whatever. But you're not doing anything about it. You just let it be, right?
Yes.
If and when you just, your relationship with the thought is similar to relationship with the wind that's moving those branches, those trees out there, those leaves out there. If your relationship with the thought, or when your relationship with the thought is similar to your relationship with the weather, then that thought, there is no tension around that thought. Now, there may be a subsequent thought. It's this sort of almost shadowing the previous thought, and that the shadow thought is, where is this? I'd like to experience this, or I've experienced this yesterday, or when I was listening to such and such a video, I felt it. Where is it? So that thought, now, if also your relationship with that thought is similar to your relationship with the previous thought, which shows your relationship with the weather or with the wind, then you would not feel any tension. Or I would say that the tension that would start to arise with that thought, gee, where is the bliss? Because within where is the bliss, there is where is the bliss for me. I want to experience the bliss as a person, my personal bliss, because universal bliss has no personal experiencer. It's a recognition. But when the thought arises, where is the bliss, in parentheses or in small print for me, there is the start of a contraction. But then your sadhana would be to be with that thought, like you are with the breath.
Mhm.
With the breath. Then that initial rising of the tension will not be fed, will dissolve. So when your relationship with everything is similar to relationship with the breath or with the tree in the yard, yeah, I don't have any. The tree is in the yard. It's, yeah, a bird could land on it or not. The wind could blow and move it or not. When your relationship with everything is like that, then your sadhana is on point. And you will find that this tendency of the contraction to settle itself and to build its root within your body doesn't have the tools to do that. You see. Now, as long as we believe that I am a person, there is going to be personal intentions and personal goals and personal hopes and personal disappointments. So simultaneously with the sadhana of non-action, which is I have no action with the tree, dispassion. Alongside that, you also contemplate what am I? Because the I am, the body mind, is a root, is the original separation from beingness. You have to also go there and hammer it out. You have to also go there to what am I? What is I? What is I for I? What is this I for I? The I is, you can't describe it. Of course, you can describe the body, you can describe the table, you can describe the computer, you can describe the tree. You can describe the hand, but you cannot describe I. So simultaneously with the sadhana of non-action and dispassion, there is this, the inquiry, the Atma Vichara. What am I truly? What am I?
And I think now that my thoughts there's a part that's felt, it feels like it's in here, and in a way, it's just all the body part as well. Everything else, whatever it is, what is there. And so these thoughts come up, and the thoughts like, well, so what? They're in the flow, they're whatever.
Yeah.
So I'm already recognizing the I-ness, okay? Because
Yes.
I'm witnessing whatever.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
It's there, and but still, so I think what happens is that then another, like I said, another thought wants more of the I to be there.
Uh-huh.
Than
Yes.
the other.
So
Okay.
so
and I recognize that too.
Yeah. Good. So you're
Okay.
recognizing that there is something that's still seeking an experience, and you're
Yes,
recognizing
yeah.
that. Good. Keep
Yeah.
recognizing that. That is, there is an experience monster out there. There is an experience seeker out there. What is that experience, right? Yeah, you see it.
Pac-Man.
Yeah, right.
My experience.
Experience, right. You can see that. Yes.
Yes. So, I mean, again, all of this goes, again, if I identify with the person.
But you don't judge it, you see. When you see it,
Yeah,
you're not judging
that's
it.
the
You're
point.
seeing it, you're not saying, oh, I see it. Oh. No, you just see it. Oh, interesting. It's still clicking and ticking.
Yeah.
You see it.
Yeah. And so what I hear you saying, for me anyway, what I hear you saying is, even thought will go, it will, or no. The I am comes in, it's being established, it's becoming established and more. And so there's a recognition of that, there's awareness of awareness and so forth and so on.
So be careful about this being established, because you see, you already are that. Now, what is when you are leaving, when you are pursuing or following the, oh, what can I get? That Pac-Man who's looking for the goodies. At that moment, there is the unhappiness. But as soon as that is not there, because it's not there all the time,
Right.
you already are the self.
Yeah.
So let go of this being established, okay? Because I can see that now you're looking for getting established, and there is some egoic.
No, I don't think so.
Okay, good.
No,
Okay.
No.
Okay.
It's more, I just use that word because that's a common word in all
Okay.
these talks and everything.
Okay.
And I
The
use
self is already established.
I mean, yes, that's what the acknowledgement is, or the awareness is aware of. It's already done. It's not on a mental level.
Right.
It's done.
Yes.
And and people talk about it becoming established by becoming that there's the peace and happiness through all things, let's say.
Yes.
And experiences and so forth and so on. So in a way, I guess what I'm saying is what appears and only on thought level too, probably, what appears to be happening is that you said, things become thinner and thinner. This transfer. So things are becoming thinner and thinner.
Yes.
Even though there's no such thing in a way.
Right.
Yes,
yeah.
But it's really talking on the thought level.
Yes.
Intellect. But that's part of this journey. It seems like.
Yes. You will find that in time, what used to irritate you or what used to push your buttons, you find that it's happening less and less, and it takes so much more for your buttons to get pushed. You will find that.
So in this case, then what you said to me, this is my takeaway. What you said to me is the idea of you can also simultaneously you can inquire into who am I,
yes,
or whatever.
Yes.
And see, that's thought. I'm thinking, no, I can do that, but there's no. I mean, I'm aware of it now. But it's
you
not
just
true.
follow what really resonates for you.
Yeah.
In the satsang, there are many things that are shared, and some things resonate for you now or maybe later. You never know, and it will speak to you, or it will just happen on its own. You will find yourself without even thinking about it. You may find yourself.
Yes.
Wait a minute, am I these thoughts, or am I? So, it's just it works on its own in a way. You see,
it does happen.
Yes.
Yeah. At the same time, apparently, it's okay for me to, because that's all thought. It's okay for me then to inquire. Not to struggle to be the I.
Yes. Yes.
And so the inquire the inquiry into that is okay.
Inquiry is interest.
Yeah.
It's out of interest. It's
Yeah.
We're
It is.
interested, like children, how they like to explore
Yeah.
things. It's in a way that it has a certain innocence to it. Inquiry.
It does. And there's in the body and the thought, there's this dissolution when the inquiry comes. So, it's like, because if I do the inquiry, number one, my attention is not on the things as much, and it now comes back.
Yes.
It comes back.
Yes.
And so, and if I really begin to see these things, these objects, these appearances, they just aren't solid, and they move and come. They're in the flow, and they dissolve in front of my own eyes.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
It's the emptiness of form. In fact,
Yeah.
like all forms in their substance are empty, and you get to the movement is the shift. I would say is from having an objective reality to seeing sort of through that objective reality and come to see that
Yes.
in fact it's objectless, it's formless, it's same. And all of that sort of unfolds as part of our contemplation. It's you could say it's sort of a ripening in our contemplation. And yes, you will find a shift in your experience, in your perceptions, from sort of object subject to more the whole thing being, I use the term transparency or intimacy or formlessly. The form starts to reveal its formlessness, which is its essence, you see. Yes, it's, yeah. And going to the YouTube channel, on your right, I see the images and thoughts of a me and feel very happy some of the time, but I struggle with a lot of illness, which there still seems to be resistance or fear of the pain. When illness is not there, I'm very happy and free, but when it is back, I'm miserable. That is a repeating pattern. And the illness, of course, you do the best you can with getting the best treatment that you know of for the body illness. But the illness is at the body level. It is not at the eye level. And if you are feeling miserable or unhappy with the illness, you are identifying with the illness of the body, and it is unavoidable for you to experience the misery of the illness of the body when you are identified as the body. All bodies sooner or later will experience illness, and it is bound to happen for the bodies one way or the other, different forms, different shapes. To expect it to be otherwise is a little foolish. But take this opportunity of the illness of the body to contemplate the experience that refers you to the I that is not ill. Within your experience of the illness of the body, there is the potential, the invitation for you to contemplate your identification with the body And in the contemplation, the identification with the body will become, will shift. Illness of the body appears as sensations, as bodily sensations. And when there is a resistance, then those bodily sensations become feelings, and then they can become emotions about what's happening to me. Say, it can lead to depressions, it can lead to all sorts of negative emotions. You need to take advantage of this opportunity of the illness of the body that is, of course, arising to you. It's very particular to you. It's not an accident. It is arising to you for you, not to punish you, not to make you suffer, but to help you to find that place that is not ill. There is the illness, and there is that perceives the illness that is not ill. Sometimes with a hotter message, a more intense message, there is a hotter possibility, stronger possibility, a bigger step. When things are nice and dandy, there's a little inconvenience, a little traffic on the road, I'm still into my little personal self, maybe I'll take advantage of realizing myself a little bit in traffic, be cool in traffic. But when there is illness in the body, especially something that is ongoing and intense, then the calling is much stronger, and I would say it's a much greater opportunity than just being inconvenienced in traffic. We are all given what we are capable of handling. And so it's given to you with that intention. So rise to the occasion and don't just remain identified with your misery. And do your best, the best you can, of course, for the body to help it in its cure and to reduce the pain. Okay. Any questions?
Magdi?
Yes. Hello, Zoe?
Yes.
Yes, hello, Zoe.
Can you talk about holding on to the eye, following it to its source?
There is only one I, there's only one reality that is second to none, and there is no one to hold on to it. It is itself. It already is itself. The I is the I, and there is no one to hold on to it. Recognize that in this very moment, it is I that is. There is only I that is, one I. It's a recognition that is not in time. It's a recognition in the timelessness of beingness, the timelessness of presence. So whenever the unhappiness of the personal self arises, meaning whenever you feel and experience that you are Zoe, that you are a person, you're a woman, or whatever you are, teacher, whatever, identification arises at the body-mind level, there will be unhappiness, and you need to become sensitive to this unhappiness and not dull to it. You don't become callous to the unhappiness, become sensitive to it so that you don't become habituated to unhappiness. Don't go further, don't take further steps towards what is unhappy. Just stop at that moment. Just be still, because the self is still. It is in not feeding the personal self by the practice of non-action and dispassion at the world body mind level. That the personal self doesn't get deeper and deeper rooted, doesn't get aggrandized. So the contemplation of the I, or forgot how you put it, is more a non-doing than a doing. So we do the identification. We do not do the beingness. Beingness is. But the identification is something that we do, meaning we pursue the sensations, we pursue experiences, we are seeking something out in the world, body, mind. Of course, all this is relative language, because in fact, there is nothing happening. But it's not sufficient for me in the teaching to say there is nothing happening, period. That's the teaching. No, there really have to use this relative language until you comprehend. There's a silent comprehension of there is nothing happening that is beyond the thought. There is nothing happening beyond the words. There is nothing happening. But in this, there is nothing happening. There is a pursuit of experiences in the world. Even spiritual experiences are a sort of pursuit, because the I already is and is whole upon itself. So recognition that before any arising, I am. And also, any arising is the I am. So the I am is not just before the arising, it's also during and within the arising. And the arising of the I thought, the me, is a mind impression that the I that is a personal self and needs to accomplish something in the world. before this arising, the self is as a non-arising. During the arising, the self is as an arising, but not really, because the arising is just a dream arising. It's an imaginary arising. Because the self is beyond any arising or non-arising. It is not something that can be grasped by the mind, because the mind is holistic, but it's something that you can comprehend as your very being, as the I that is. It is the I that is, that right now is, perceives, hears these words, and remains as I, unmoved, unchanged, unaltered by whatever it's creating, perceiving. Out of itself, it remains as the I. This recognition is, I think, what your question was about.
Yeah, I've heard that many times, that hold on to the I and follow it back to its source in different readings. And when you just said that about, but there's only one reality, that just made it just pop to the bubble. I don't know, what you just said made sense. Thank you, Magdi.
Yes, there are different pointers that are shared at different points in time, and the teaching is not about what is being said, but it's about the truth that is within what is being said. And the truth is one and can be expressed in so many different forms, so many different ways. It may seem to be contradictory sometimes, even coming from one teacher. You may hear them and quote them to be saying something and just the opposite thing at a different time, depending on how they're addressing the question. I rarely use the term hold on, because I find it to be too masculine, too male, has too much muscle in it. But in terms,
And it also, well, I was just going to say, and it's also immediate duality. What's holding on to what? Yeah.
yes, but we do use dualistic language in teaching too. But of course, we're not teaching duality.
No, we already got that down.
Let's graduate from non-duality first, and then we'll go to duality. But in terms of tracing the thought to its source, or the experience, the perception to its source, everything that appears refers to that which knows it, right? It refers to everything that appears. In other words, the known refers to its knowingness.
Yeah.
That which knows it is the knowingness itself. Knowingness, the known, the knowingness, and the knower are one. So tracing your thoughts or experience to its source is a way of speaking sometimes in the teaching that is pointing you to contemplate the self, contemplate the reality, contemplate the I am, or contemplate the non-duality of the subject-object. That in your experience, anything that you perceive refers to that which perceives it, the reality that knows it. And when you contemplate the intimacy between that which is known and the knowingness and the knower slash knowingness, or let's say the knower of that which knows it, you will find that there is complete intimacy. And this is what we refer to as knowingness. So known, knower, and knowingness are one. So yes, sometimes there is that teaching. There are so many pointers and ways, reasoning ways and teaching ways that are pointing to the Advaitic understanding.
Thank you.
Okay, Zoe. Hello, Inga. Okay, any questions?
I have a question.
Yes, Holly.
So I have to ask stuff related to pot use again.
Yes, yes.
So I haven't been doing that. Which,
Pot.
Yes.
Yes.
Which overwhelmingly feels like the right thing to do.
Yes.
At this time in my life.
Yes.
But so another factor is it being winter right now and it's dark. And
Yes.
that affects me.
Yes.
And the reason why smoking was such a good crutch for me
Yes.
was because it fulfilled so many different things. Exciting, social aspect,
Yes.
A myriad package of goods that I got from it.
Yes.
So now, being away from it, I feel almost psychologically like a child who's had their favorite toy
Taken away. Yes.
I feel, and I was that type of child, who would have those sorts of emotional responses.
Yes.
So a result right now is I feel more easily overwhelmed. I feel very irritable. I don't have that as a release valve anymore, which is another purpose that it serves me.
Yes.
And I don't wholly mind because I feel that it's the right path to be taken, but it's uncomfortable. And, as you mentioned earlier when you were talking to Trish, when you have comfortable and happiness, you bring it into all aspects of your life. So,
Yes.
so it's causing other things to feel heavier now too. So
Yes. 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 Well, whenever there is a significant change in our life, it's normal that we will experience some there will be a period of, let's say, adjustment where we will experience sense of loss, maybe some discomfort. We will experience maybe some experience of withdrawal. It is to be expected. It's like when you move from, even within the same building, you move from one apartment on the second floor to an apartment on the third floor. You will experience something of the sort. When the body is sleeping and the body wakes up, there is also a period of So what I'm saying is that to a certain extent, it's normal to be experiencing these things. Nothing is wrong. Nothing is off. And if you are made the decision to, okay, I don't need to. I can experience. I can be with that part. I can contemplate beingness, contemplate the self, contemplate what's happening in my life without the use of part. And if you made that decision out of a place that feels it's a good place and there is a certain commitment, then within that commitment, within that decision, there is a certain strength that will arise for you, that will help you during those times that are testing for you, which are unavoidable. There will be these times of testing like you're describing them, but the strength is there too. This is the strength of the commitment, of the decision, and the sense that yes, this is the right direction for me now, and I'm going to do that. In all practices, there are sometimes disciplines that or certain activities that we engage in that require a certain determination and a certain digging in your heels or something, that I recall, when years ago I felt that, okay, I wanted to do this zazen, this Zen sitting, and not used to this stuff, but somehow something within me, there was a long period in this case of great challenges, at the body level, at the mind level. It's just, rebelling. But it's part at some time in our practice, in our contemplation, our journey. Now, there is that determination and that inner strength and that resolution that, okay, I'm gonna go through this shit. I'll go through it. And I remember when I used to be in this, very difficult retreats, the monitors, used to remind us that many before us have gone through that, have gone through that. So, and of course, that's what I wanted to do, you say. It's not like, but I just wanted to share with you that many before you have gone through that what you're sharing right now. And it's sometimes part of your journey to feel like this loss of control, or and still to stay the course, you see. It develops inner strength. It develops other qualities within yourself that are there, that will arise for you, and you will find great treasures within yourself that are there. I recall also when I stopped smoking pot, when I decided to stop smoking pot, that was quite challenging, especially there was, I guess, this sort of anyways, Plus my environment was always. But we can go through that. We go through that. If you make the decision from a place where you feel, okay, this is, time for me to navigate this direction. Yeah, and you have everybody's the unseen realm of support is there, for you. You're not alone. You're not alone. Never alone. You're not separate. Okay. Thank you all online. Lovely to see you, Esther. Maru, I didn't get your question, but maybe you can email it to me, or you can bring it up again. Actually, next Sunday we're not meeting, but next Thursday we are. Okay. Are we, Tara? No. No. Actually, no. Next week we want to meet. We're not meeting until a week from now at least, okay? Or more than a week, right? 10 days. Okay. Namaste, everyone.
Thank you, Magdi.
Okay, Zoe.
Thanks, Magdi.
Okay, Esther, lovely to